Hello everybody and welcome to Top 2 Tips, the show in which we give you our top 2 tips on a variety of role-playing game topics. Today with Roberto Micheri, what are our top 2 tips for handling fantasy combat? You game? If this is the first time you come into this channel, I am Paco Garcia, and you can level up your game right now by subscribing and clicking on the bell button so you can get notifications when we upload more videos in the future. Top 2 Tips is a collaborative effort among more than one YouTuber where we want to give you our top 2 tips on a variety of topics, and today is about handling fantasy combat. Today I have with me the absolutely fantastic Roberto Micheri, and to be honest, his experience is so good that I'm going to leave it for the end of the video. What are my top 2 tips on handling fantasy combat? Well, I have one for GMs and one for players. The one for GMs: throw everything at your players. Everything. You see, a fantasy combat is meant to be designed to be able to provide a challenge to a party of a number of players. If that is well balanced, it doesn't matter what you do. Yes, you may kill somebody, but it should be a well balanced and therefore achievable target. Doesn't mean that it has to be easy, but it should be achievable. Some creatures will have some special abilities that they can only use a limited number of times, and they will have the most devastating effects. Use them first, right away. Don't wait. If you wait, we mess things up and we may kill the villain before you get the chance to actually show how cool it is. If you have fireballs, go for it. If you have disintegrations, go for it. Throw everything at the players because the character will go in a more interesting way for me, from being very powerful to weaker and weaker. And that to me is cool. And also it gives a much better sense of, oh my god, this could be dangerous. Let's get on with this properly and not just do crazy stuff. Throw everything. And for the players, what my advice would be is don't split the party unless you're really sure that you can handle monsters individually. If you separate the party, what's going to happen is that those monsters are going to make the players weaker. If one of the players becomes paralyzed or otherwise neutralized, you cannot move for whatever reason, or simply get knocked unconscious, that monster is going to go to another player who's been fighting another monster who's already made it weaker, and 2 monsters versus 1 or 2 weaker players, bad idea. So if in doubt, choose an enemy, perhaps the strongest, that's the one that's going to do the most damage, go for them, and once you finish with them, if the other ones don't run away, which they might, I would, then go for the other ones. But don't split the party willy-nilly. That might be a very bad idea. So those are my top 2 tips. And now, get ready for a treat. Over to Roberto.
Hello, Roberto Micheri here again with top 2 tips on handling fantasy combat. And I'll go really quickly over them. First of all, make it fantastical. Don't forget you're playing a fantasy game. Don't let it devolve into sword against sword, hitting the armor, making it very drab and very medieval. I hate to use that word, but make it fantastical. Describe the spell effects. Have swords that shine and cross through the air and sing when they hit you. Make it really different. Make it fantastical. That's number 1. And number 2 would be, don't forget the terrain. In a fantasy world, you can have so many great settings and so many adventures. I had 2 adventures where I used the terrain. One was characters were playing in this, in this church, which had stained glass windows of different settings. And I don't remember which. There was a creature trapped around the church, and it shone like a small star, and it circled the temple. And as it circled through, its light came through the glass stained windows, and the setting of the glass stained windows would affect the terrain inside the church. So if the light came through a stained glass representing an erupting volcano, there would be lava on the floor, so on and so forth. I also had an adventure that occurred in a dwarf temple that was built atop a large cavern, and it was held together with these pillars with reverse gravity. And it was a decaying temple, and as the characters fought through it, pieces would begin to fall out, and the columns that held the temple up would fall down. So you'd have the floor dropping on them through the combat. Those are two examples of utilizing terrain effectively and making fantasy combat really fantastical. Those are my contributions, my top 2 tips. See you on the next video.
I'm not joking. I wish I'd been in that church with everything falling around me, because that sounds super interesting, seriously. If you want to participate in these videos, we would love to have you around. Do get in touch through our Facebook page so I can tell you exactly how to do it. But essentially, if you have a YouTube channel, a podcast or a blog, and you can record, even if it's just with your webcam, these little 2-3 minute videos, we would love to have you around, seriously. Let us know. We'll give you a list of all the topics that we want to discuss, and if you have some topics to discuss, yeah, we'd love to have your idea as well. Let's make this a really cool thing. Looking forward to hearing from you. And if you don't, please do leave me your comments down there. Let me know what are your top 2 tips on handling fantasy combats, because I'd love to hear from you. Thank you once again, and until the next time, you game